Okay, let me start the class. Okay, let me create one more file. Okay, with a layout. So now I'm writing a layout here. Can you see that? It's a COBOL layout. Guys, can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is my layout. This is my layout. Employee number is a 4 bytes, which is a numeric data. Employee name is a 20 bytes, which is a alphanumeric data. That means we can use either a numeric or else alphabets or numerics or special characters. Anything we can use it here. So that's called a alphanumeric. Guys, please go to mute. Yeah, thank you. And employee status 1 byte variable. Employee status is 1 byte variable. Employee date of joining is a 8 bytes length, and it's a numeric. Employee salary, which is of 9 bytes. So 7 bytes of integer and 2 bytes of a decimal. And there is no decimal period required here, but program can understand that as a decimal period after the 7 digits. It doesn't take any extra memory for this decimal period. So 4 plus 20 plus 1 plus 8 plus 9. So 25 plus 8.
So all over 42.
How much it is?
42.
42 bytes. Right. So now I'm going to create a PS file for this layout. One second, I'm getting a call. Hello. Okay, I'm sorry, I got a call. Okay, now, so this is a length is a 42 bytes. Is it a pixel length or a variable length file?
Sir, fixed length.
It's a fixed length because every employee must have all these values. If they don't have a values for some of these variables, for example, name is not there, at least we need to give us spaces. At least we need to give us spaces. If the employee status is not decided, we give a spaces. And if the salary is not decided, we give zeros. But memory is allocated, all these fields. And every employee must have all these columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So length of this file is 42 bytes. And format of this file, is it a fixed length or variable length?
Fixed
It's a
length.
fixed length. So FB and 42. Block size, we need not say. So system will decide the best block size. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So let me, okay, go to the 3.2. To create a data set, we go to the 3.2. So yesterday we created a file, okay, batch 10 dot bmp file. So it's already created, but I want to delete it. Delete it and then create again with the new attributes. So tracks, and don't use this volume serial. For you, it's a S7 sys1. For me, it's a ZA sys1 and tracks. And for a sample data, it doesn't take more than a. We don't use a thousands of records, so we take hardly 10-15 records. Don't put your effort in preparing a test data. Don't take a huge data. So don't waste your time in taking a huge data. Take a less number of records and process it. Okay. So some 5 comma 2 or 1 comma 2 something. Generally, we give a primary quantity bigger than secondary quantity. Okay. That's not a rule. That's a recommendation. You can also go like so 2 comma 5. 2 is the primary and 5 is the secondary. We can do it, no problem. But generally, wherever you go, you see bigger primary quantity and a lesser secondary quantity. So directed blocks is 0 because it's a PS file and record format is FB. Record format is FB. Okay. And 1 second. Okay. So record length is a 42 bytes. And the block size, no need to specify that, else you can give a 0. So it will take the best block size. Now hit enter, so that it's going to create the file. And say that file is allocated. If you want to see the attributes of the file, go here. Simply hit enter. Or else go to 3.4 and give the file name here, give the information. Here also you can see that. So now see that, is it a PS? It's a PS file. Volume serial is this one. Leave about the device type, leave it. And organization PS, record format FB, record length 42. And best block size is a 27972. And first extend tracks. Oh, 1 second. I think I created with the 5, but why it is taking only 2? 1 second. Sorry. I given 5. Instead of 5, I given 2. So now let's go here. Let's see the information now. What's happening? Okay. Why it's taking 5 tracks, or else 10, 5. I don't know why it's taking only. Something wrong with this. Though I'm allocating a 10 tracks, first 10 tracks are 2, secondary tracks are 5. Or else I do one another file instead of this. 10 and 5. Will be file 1. Something wrong with this. It's always taking a 2, 5. I don't know the reason. I don't know the reason, but you don't get like this. Okay, so first 10 tracks you should get as a 10, and secondary tracks you should get as a file, but I don't know why it is showing like this.
Sir, in place of track TRKs.
Oh, did I miss it? Okay, sorry. Good observation. Let's see. It's going to resolve the issue. No, no. Not taking like that. I create a file with some sort of XYZ. Oh, that's a problem actually. So there is no enough space available here. That's why it's allocating a 2. In my volume serial, there is no enough space available. So I think that's a mistake. What's the problem? Let me see. Okay, now I allocate these files in another volume serial. RES1. I think it has a better space available. Let me go and see that in here. Now you can see here. The first acting tracks is a 10 and secondary tracks is 5. Okay. So the problem is that volume set is not having enough space. That's why it is allocating only 2, 5. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Let me go back. So now we have created a file here, a PS file. PS file. So what are the important parameters required to create a PS file? Can someone tell me? Okay. Space units, right? Is it a tracks or cylinders? First of all, volume serial. Volume serial. Number 2, space parameter like tracks, primary space, secondary space, like this. And then what is the next one? Record format.
Record length.
Primary and secondary spaces.
Yeah. This is what? Space units, primary space, secondary
Yeah,
space.
yeah.
So record format.
And then record
Okay.
length.
Block
Record
size.
length.
Block
Record
size.
length.
Dataset type.
Yeah. That's also correct. Dataset type, PSR or PDS, right? So LRICL, that means a logical record length, and then block size. Okay. So which is mostly we give a 0. It will create a best block size. So these are the important things that to create a data set. Space parameters, volume serial, space parameters. Okay. And then this is called a DCP parameters like data control block, record format, record length, block size. If you know these things, then we can create a file. Fine. We have seen how to create the data sets using a 3.2. 3.2. Guys, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
So if you want to create a load library, let me show you that. If you want to create a load library, let's go here. If you want to create a load library, for example, batch 10 dot load lib allocate. Now, it's almost same attributes as a source PDS, but only one change. So it's not a FB. I told you. What is the format of a load library?
U.
U. And when you give as U, it is not processed in terms of records. It is processed in terms of blocks. So that's the reason we can give a maximum block size 998. Or else you can also give some 80. Okay. You can also give some 80 and you can give some 800 like this. But best one is a 0 is a record length and the block size is a maximum block size. Need not be multiples because multiples of 0 is a 0. So 27998 maximum block size. So for a variable length file VB and for U we give a maximum block size. For FB only we need to calculate it if you are giving it. Otherwise you give a 0. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So here tracks, primary space, secondary space, directive blocks, record format, record length, and then block size. Record length you always give as a 0 for the load library. And the block size you give a 27998 maximum block size. No need to give a 0 here. Don't give a 0 here. Don't give a 0 here. You must give a block size when you give a record length 0. So because the processing is not done in terms of records, it is done in terms of blocks. The system is going to utilize this load library. We are not going to read the load library. We are not going to look into the load library. We don't look into the executable files. We only see the source files. So that's the reason we least bother about what is the format. So, but we have to give a record format U, record length 0, and the block size is a 27998. Are you clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Now, dataset allocated. So all the three datasets are allocated using a 3.2 option, yes or no. Now, I am going to create a same set of files, one source PDS, one load PDS, and one PS, one PS using a JCL. We can also create all these files, the datasets using a JCLs. Okay. So how to create PDS, source PDS? This is the question to you. You need to have a clear answer for this. How to create a source library? Okay, source library, load library, and PS files. Okay. So there are two ways using foreground option 3.2 using batch JCL. Do you understand? We have seen that how to create a dataset using 3.2. Here we have a lot of questions. What is the record format of a source library? What is the record format of a load library? What is the record format of a PS file? What is the record format of a PS file? What is the record format of the PS file?
It contains data only.
Yeah, but record format is there, right?
FB, sir. FB.
No, no. You can't say FB. It may be FB or VB or FBA based on the situation.
Okay.
If all my records are having the same length, I go with the FB. If different records are having a different lengths of the same file, we go with the VB. If it's a report file, we go for a FBA. That should be your answer.
Yes, sir. Sir, if you created a data set and if you want to change it,
No,
so
we
is this
cannot change the
possible?
formats. We cannot change the any attributes of a file allocation attributes. We cannot change it. If you want to increase it, take a backup of the file. I'm telling you, take a backup of the file and delete it. Create with the new attributes. Maybe you want to increase the space. For example, you're given 10, 5. Now you want to give a 50, 25. So in that case, what you need to do is take a backup of the file and delete it. Then create a new file with the new attributes and then copy from the backup. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Good question. So can we change the attributes of the file if it's already created? No. No, we cannot change the attributes. Okay?
Okay, sir.
In a VSAM file, we can change some of the attributes after allocation. In a VSAM file, we can change some of the attributes after allocation. But on a PS files, we cannot change the allocation attributes. Okay. So now the question is, what is the attributes of a load library? So record format is U, record name
Block
is
size,
0,
maximum
block
block
size
size,
is the
and
maximum block size 27998. Depending on
record
the
length 0.
system, it may be 64 KB or 54 KB. If it's a 54 KB, 64 KB, it's a 32 KB. Okay, of block size. If it's a 54 KB, then it's a 27 KB. Okay. So in our system, 55996 is a track size. Half a track means 27998. That's the best block size in our system. And there may be a lot of questions you may get it in a block size. What is a block size? What is the advantage of the, okay, and what is the best block size? What happens if you give a block size equal to 0? System decides the best block size. Can you give that block size equal to 0 for a VB files? No. Only for FB files, we give a block size 0. For VB files, for unformatted, we have to supply the block size. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
The best block size for the VB and U is always a 27998. Only for FB files, we give a block size 0. And most of the files are FB files only in the real applications. Very few cases we use a VB files. If there is a 10,000 files available in a particular system and a project, so almost 9,500 files will be there with the FB files. So most of the files are, PS files are FB files, fixed blocked files. Layout is a constant for all these files. Are you clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now we're going to see how to create those data sets using all together. We call this a data sets. It may be source library or a load library or a PS file. On a high level, we call it as a data set. Data set. Okay. All together, we call it as a data set. But if you want to differentiate PDS and PS, in that again, you want to differentiate source library, JSON library, proc library, like this. We use a name called a library. That's not a mandatory. We can use a.b.c as a PDS, no problem. A.b.c as a PS file. But generally, when you're creating a PDS, we use a lib, saying that it's a library, not a PS file. Because unless until you see with the information, see here, unless until you see with the information, we can't say it's a PDS or a PS. So we have to give I in front of it. Then only we can see it's a PS or PDS. Unless we need to open it. Then only we can see it's a PDS or PS. But if you give a standard naming convention, lib in the end of the file, then it's a library. So that's a recommendation. If you are creating a PDS, better you use a lib in the end of the dataset name. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So most of the PDSs, we give a lib in the end, source library, copy library, proc library, JSON library, control library, BMS library, load library. Like this, we give a lib. That's a recommendation. That's not a rule. That's not a rule. That's a standard we follow in most of the applications in the real time. Okay. Let me move on to how to create these data sets using a batch JSON. So we have created a PDS batch 10 dot source library. We created it. Go to 3.2, go to 3.2 and sorry, go to 3.4. Once after creation of the data sets, go to 3.4 and give a batch 10 dot source library, which is our dataset name. Don't keep the dataset name in the quotes here. That's not a good practice. Okay. So in 3.2, you have to give the dataset name in the quotes. Okay. Now, simply enter. Here, the dataset is there. let's see whether we can view or edit or browse. We cannot because no members in the data set. When there is no members in the data set, we cannot browse it. So we need to create a first member using like this. Edit. Yes, see carefully. Go to 3.4. If you want to create a member in the PDS, see, I want to create a JCL. I want to create a JCL. In that JCL, I want to create a data sets. Do you understand the requirement? We have seen how to create a data sets using a 3.2. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now we're going to create the same data sets using a batch JCL. What we created in 3.2 is a foreground. We can give the options there. When you can hit enter, it will create it there itself in the foreground options. But if you want to create a data set using a batch JCL, first we need to have a PDS. In that PDS, we need to create a member. In that member, we need to write a JCL. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I want to create a JCL. The JCL has to be created in a PDS. I have a PDS, but I don't have a member in the PDS to create my JCL. So for that reason, I'm going to 3.4 and I'm entering my PDS here. Okay. And I'm using a E edit. If the data set is already having some members, it will open it. Otherwise, it will say no members in the data set. Can you see that here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, do E in front of that and within the braces, after the data set, within the braces, say for example, JCL1 and hit enter. No need to give a JCL1, just member one or any name we can give it. So, but here I am giving a meaningful name JCL1 and hit enter. Once again, hit enter once again. Can you see the member here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now I am creating a JCL here. Don't worry about the JCL. I'll explain about the JCL a little later. So if the data set is already created, we delete it first because I want to create a load source type one. No worries. I'll explain on each and every point here. Guys, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
So I am creating a JSL. We have some rules to create a JSL that leave about it. Okay. At this moment, it's too early. There's a job card we call and the exec statement we call. Under that, we have a DD statement. So job exec DD. I'm executing this job to execute a program. This program is going to create a three files, three data sets. So one is a source library with a volume serial JSRES1 and unit equal to system. For you, the volume serial is a S7 sys1. Don't use a JSRES1 JSRES1. S7 sys1. Okay. So volume serial unit is not given there. There 3390 is taken, but here we have to give a unit equal to sysdom, direct access storage device. Okay. So here space equal to tracks comma 10 comma 5 comma 100. This 100 is the directory blocks. So primary space, secondary space comma directory blocks. And record format FB, record length 80, block size 0. Do you understand? Did we give
Yes,
these
sir.
parameters in the 3.2?
Yes.
Yes,
Most
sir.
of these parameters we supplied. Yes or no?
Yes.
Guys, please respond. All of
Sir,
you.
FB means fixed
Fixed
block.
block.
Now then, how to
It's a
yeah,
fixed
then
block.
how to zero.
No, for you
But and
only.
you,
Sorry. I think need to change this one. You. Sorry. This is what you're asking, right?
sir.
Sorry for that. I made a mistake. So source library one. Let me delete all this. If at all any data sets already there, it will fail. Okay. Source library one. No, not there. Load library one. Not there. EMP file one. Not there. Okay. So you can see that no dataset names found. So now I can create those. If it's already created, it will fail. So leave about how we need to, why we need to go to all these, what are the rules to follow, leave about it, but check it. Dataset name is given here. Under the program, we have a DD name, DD, DSN, dataset name, volume equal to serial equal to, okay, the jet volume serial, and unit equal to sysdom, space equal to tracks, and then primary, secondary, directory blocks, and a DCB, record format, record length, and process. So we have some rules here we need to follow. Okay, and all must be separated by a comma. One each data DD. If you are giving this parameters DSN, volume serial, and then unit, the space, DCB, you have to give a proper commas, and then we see that rules later. It's too early, but try to understand that we can also create the data sets using a batch JCL. And similar parameters we are giving here with some sort of naming convention like volume equal to serial equal to JDRS. So are we giving a similar attributes here or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So dataset name, there we given the 3.2 in the first panel. If you go to the dataset name, for example, 3.2. Here we give the dataset name. For example, batch 10 dot source live 2. I'm trying to allocate it. So this is the dataset name. This I have given. This I have given here. Yes or no? The next one. And here, volume serial, I'm giving it here. And then tracks. Please go to mute. Sankura 3, Bhuvandeep. Okay. Thank you. Right. Tracks. Here I'm giving a tracks. Here I'm giving a primary space, secondary space, and directory blocks, record format, record length, block size, and then it's a PDS. No need to give a PDS, actually, you can remove it. Actually, there is a parameter called a DSR. For PDS, we give a PO. For PS, we give a PS. If you give a directory loss greater than 0, it will be taken as automatically a PDS. No need to give that separately, but I'm giving it here so we understand. Right. So see here, most of the attributes what I have supplied here are also available here. Yes or no? Dataset name, volume serial, unit. Here, device type, okay, is not given, but there we are supplying it like a sysdar. Okay, it's required. And space parameter, tracks, primary, secondary, directory blocks. And record format, record length, block size, and DS organization. Right? So let me submit it. To create it, we need to use a submit. I have created a JCL. Now I'm submitting it. It's going to be allocated in the batch process. All the 3 files will be allocated automatically. Access is 0. Can you see that? Now these files are allocated. It is called a batch process because I submitted a JCL. So we can do it in a foreground 3.2. We can also do it in a batch JCL. Do you understand the difference?
Yes, sir.
So let me show you these files here. One second, I'm sorry for that. Important thing is not given. Important thing is not given. Uh, right. We have to give a display parameter here. I forgot it. Display equal to new, create as a new file. If it is successfully executed, catalog it. If the job is failed, delete it. I'm sorry for that. I forgot it. And I need to give it a this parameter for every data set. So DSN, this new, create a new file. If this job is successfully executed, catalog it. Okay, the step is successfully executed. Okay, catalog it. If it is failed, then delete it. That's so that I can create it again. So new, catalog, delete. And volume serial, unit, space, and DCV. Hope you understand. Now I'm submitting once again. Now let's go here. Yeah, these are the files and the data sets like PDS and PSS we have created. These are the PDSs and PSS what we have created using a batch JSL using a 3.2. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Let's see here. The information, this file is created, this data set is created using a 3.2, and this data set is created using a JCL.
3.4.
This is using a, no, not 3.4, JCL, we can say JCL, of course, from 3.4 only, but using a JCL, batch JCL. You need to say using a batch JCL, using a foreground 3.2 and using a batch JCL. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's see the information. So PO FB 27920. Okay, 9 comma 5, maybe it does not have a proper memory, that's why it didn't create enough space. Next, let me come back to this one. So here PO FB 27920, I given a block size 0. Did you observe? But it has taken
Yes,
a
sir.
less block size. And the first action tracks 10, second action tracks 5. Okay. So the data sets can be created either using a 3.2 or else a JCL. Do you understand the difference?
Yes, sir.
If it is a 3.2, it will show you all the options where we need to fill the values. But in the JCL, we need to write a syntaxes. We need to write a syntaxes, a proper syntaxes. Okay. Let me come to the load library. Okay. Unformatted, record length 0. It's a PO. Unformatted, record length 0. And then block size 27998. Primary space, secondary space. and the directive blocks. Okay, now we see the same information here. You can see the organization PO and record format, record length, block size, and the directive blocks, primary space and secondary space. Is it same or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's come back to the file. So PS file FB 42 27972, and then primary space 5, 10, and the secondary space 5. Let me come back. Okay. So PS file FB 42 27972, primary space, secondary space. Okay. So either you create using a 3.2, either create with a batch JCL, it's one and the same, no difference. Okay. So one is using with a panel. See here, one is using with a panel. The other one is using a some syntaxes. Step name, execute, PGM equal to IEF PR14. There's a program name given by IBM to create data sets. DD name, DD. So DD is required here because we can create a double three, 3,400 plus. I'm not sure about the exact number. So we can create a more than 3,000 files in a single program using a single program. So DD1, DD2, DD3, three different names here. We can give any name here. This is not a problem. 8 characters name, you can give any name. But this is a dataset name. And this is a disk parameter, new catalog delete. If it is successfully executed, so first of all, it's a new file. If the file is already existing, it will fail with the JCL error. For example, I submit the same JCL. I submit the same JCL. Is this file created in the previous run or not? Is this
Yes,
data
sir.
set created in the previous run or not? I have
Already
already
created.
created this in the previous run. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I submit it, I get a JSL error saying that you're saying as a new, the dataset is already cataloged, already created. Here, JSL error. If you go to spool, where we check the errors? In the spool. If you go to spool, and we can go to the last job, which is submitted. If you go to just system messages, it will say that, yeah, DD1, duplicate name on this direct access volume. Okay, there is this data set is a duplicate. It's already there. It's already there on the same volume serial. Okay, it's already there. That's what it's saying. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Even in 3.2, for example, even in 3.2, if I try to create a batch source library 1, it will fail. Duplicate data set name. Can you see that? I'm trying to create a data set which is already there. What are the error we get?
Duplicate data.
Yeah, is it not the same here?
Yes, sir.
Duplicate data set name. So either you create using a foreground option in the 3.2, or whether you create a data set using a batch JCL, it's almost same. And this is one of the important topic. Okay, how to create a data sets using what are the different type of data sets we have, what are the attributes we supply for each type of data sets, for source library, for load library, for a PS file. PS file may be created with a fixed length or a variable length. Okay, so what is the block size, what is the record format, what is the tracks, what is the cylinders, what is the primary, what is the secondary, what is the direct blocks? A lot of questions may come. Here, let's see. What is the dataset name rules? 44 characters maximum. And it can have qualifiers. It can have a
8
each qualifier is
characters.
separated by a dot. Each qualifier must be started with a character,
Alphabet.
right?
Yes, sir.
And what are different types of data sets available? Source library, load library, and a PS files. And also we have VSAM files that we see later. VSAM data sets we see later. So we call all these high level as a data sets. That may be a PS file, that may be PDS, maybe source PDS or load PDS, or maybe VSAM file. All together we call on top of that as a data set. That's a general name that is used. Okay. So for a PDS, we give a lib in the end. For easily to identify that as a PDS, we give a lib option, lib keyword. Okay. So what is the track? What is the cylinder? One cylinder equal to 15 tracks. On track maybe have a different lengths in a different companies, different installations. So some of the people are using a 54 kb, some of them are using a 64 kb. Okay. So what is the best block size? Half track. Multiples of L-recall and less than or equal to half track. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
For a fixed file, it's a multiples of L-recall and less than or equal to half track. For a variable length file, the best block size is always a 27998 and a half track. In our case, it's a 27998. Okay. In other cases, it may be different based on the track size. So these are all the questions that may be asked. What is the block size? How the block size is going to improve the performance? What is the best block size? How do you code a best block size? Block size 0. System will decide the best block size. Can we change the attributes of the file if it's already created? No, we cannot change it. So if you want to change it, what to do? Take a backup of
Backup
the
it
file.
and then delete
Delete
it.
it and create with the same dataset user with the new attributes. Maybe there is a 25, 10. Now you want to give 50, 25. So what we do, we take a backup of the file. Then we delete the file and we create the new file with the new attributes and we copy the data from the old file to the new file. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So take a break. Let me see my schedule today, interview schedule. Yeah, I have interview starts from 12 o'clock. So take a break. Catch you at 10:45. I'll take one.